And so to get those larger fish takes, like you said, a year and a half to 2 years. And you've got to have that reserve, which is really hard to do. I did recently make a connection with the Micmac tribe up in Aroostook County, Band of Micmacs.
Yeah.
And this week and I got a permit to haul fish back to Vermont. So I'm going up to take a big load of fish back here because we're out. We're sold out practically. So, and I had connections there some years ago, as I mentioned earlier. And we're going to try to get that backup connection working well, like we had years ago, which is absolutely necessary in aquaculture, because if you have a tough year like we're having this year, everybody's loose. It's like they opened the gate zoo, everybody's loose and everybody's spending money. So I've never seen sales like I've seen this year.
Wow.
We're literally scraping the bottom of tanks now to make, and we're only halfway through the season. Everybody was home, sitting home saying, well, I've got chickens. Now I'm growing vegetables, so I'm cleaning out the local agway of all their seeds and potato stock and everything else. And oh, by the way, I have a pond and I need double the fish that I would normally put in. Everybody was cooped up at home and they wanted entertainment for their children, or they were worried about their food stocks. Or, I mean, I had one guy that had a big lake and he said, oh, I'll eat fish. And he stocked 2,000 fish in that pond. That's a pretty big order. 2 years. I've never seen sales like this in 35 years. Never.
How long will it take for you to like stock up so that in a year or 2 years, or to get a full size fish, basically? So in between that time, what do you do? Do you sell the yearlings? Do you, how do you?
Well, we still have, good question. We still have orders for, fry and smaller fish. We just got done going through four tanks of smaller fish, 4 to 6s, which would be considered a smaller fish. That's next year's plate size fish, so to speak. But many people, if they can't buy plate size fish or catchable fish, they'll take more of the smaller fish this year and grow them out in their ponds. So we carry 2 years at a time, generally speaking. So like once we're out of our larger fish, then we're into 4 to 6s, 3 to 4s. We have most of our fish that are left over now are next year's inventory, right? They're 2 to 3s on up to 4 to 6s, so to speak. Okay. Now, it's the hardest part in this business is carrying enough inventory to have, I want to say, consistent runs of fish coming in and going out. And in past years, as I mentioned, when we were able to get out-of-state fish imported when we ran low, say someone had more fish than they needed, they had hatched out XYZ numbers, and they had another 4,000 fish. Well, we've always been able to exchange fish wholesale amongst ourselves. And that's a great thing if you've got them available. Now, I myself am caught short because I wholesaled a lot of fish to my other dealers in the state, 2 other hatcheries in particular, and help them keep going because I want them to stay in business, right?
Yeah.
We're friendly competitors, so to speak, and we all have an interest in trying to help one another out. And speaking of education of chefs, I've dabbled in this a little bit, where people could use like yearlings for like trout poppers. Here's an example of a product that would go over big, possibly with certain restaurants if they understood how to say take a brook, like we used to take brook trout. We'd get all the small ones, deep fry them, and you'd make poppers out of them, right? That kind of thing. We've toyed with that idea over so that you'd have something that would sell to restaurants before you'd have
smelt.
Like smelt sized fish, yes. And I've got this very unique product that comes from France, and they're actually trout sardines.
Oh.
And what a great idea that is, because
that is cool.
Take yearling fish We take these yearling fish and I can't do it. I don't have the capacity, but someplace like up in Maine where they do sardines, maybe you could bring in a load of fish and have them go through and smoke and pack these just like they do the sardines. And then you'd have a Vermont product that's canned, smoked, canned, whatever, and it would be a yearling product.